مساء الفل. احمد نور. انا شغال majority of my career كان telecommunications. اشتغلت مع فودافون almost 14 سنه in few markets. وانا عملت مع سيمبيوس actually black belt training campaign من 2009 roughly. وبعدها عملت ماستر black belt في المجال في فودافون هنغري. بس mainly I'm passionate about customer experience and digital transformation. النهارده هتكلم عن البرودكشن. I'll angle it towards أكتر lowering cost to serve علشان نعلي efficiency، بس at the same time هتكلم برضو على ال versatility of production. ممكن نستخدمها في كذا customer experience, employee engagement, whatever. وهتكلم على solid examples اللي احنا عملناها بره. فبما ان العدد قليل انا حابب اتعرف عليكم الاندستريز اللي بتشتغلوا فيها بعد اذنكم.
احمد نور، انا بشتغل في شركه سيرفيس والاويل اند جاز.
اوكي.
كريم ابراهيم، فري مانجر شركه ميديكال ليك سكيل.
جميل. جوهين. اوكي. 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 جميل.
ريمون لايف اوريجن ميد لوكال تراك.
حلو.
محدش ابلكيشن كده زي اوبر جرين بس في التراك.
جميل. حلو. جميل. طيب حلو، يعني في دايفرستي، في شويه اف ام سي جي، في هيلث كير، في ديجيتال، في يعني كل حاجه موجوده. اللي انا هتكلم عليه النهارده از اكستريملي ترانسفيربل. يعني انا ميلي هتكلم طبعا على سيرفيس اندستري سبيسيفيكلي تيليكوميونيكيشن، بس كل حاجه انا هتكلم عليها can be transferred to any other industry as long as you have a customer and a product. Then it 100% applies. انا عايز البرزنتيشن تبقى interactive. طبعا هيبقى في وقت في الاخر للاسئله، بس there is a burning question وانا بتكلم يا ريت تقول. alright. طيب. Basically انا هغطي طبعا الانترو، بعد كده هتكلم على strategy of prediction, specific strategy that I followed to do prediction. لان prediction is a very big topic. وهتكلم على how to predict. I'll give you solid methodology that you guys can follow, open out of the room, so you can actually do prediction the minute you go back to I don't know university أو الشغل. وبعد كده هتكلم على the results of predictive models that we implemented in model. طيب, basically this is me and I already told about this, but I'll skip my introduction. أنا بس عايز أتكلم على إن البريدكشن ساعات بيخوف الناس, but we predict all the time. We actually predict and act on those predictions all the time. أنا حاطط هنا شوية examples that يعني the main one is traffic. لو احنا جايين هنا عارفين ان traffic will take us 30 minutes, فبننزل من البيت 35 دقيقة بدري, so we'll be here on time. But we predict traffic. مش بس كده, we predict how much gas we need to put in the car, what kind of playlist we'll listen to, and the time, duration of travel, podcast, audiobook, whatever you listen to. But we predict a lot of things and we act on it. When it comes to weather, it's extremely obvious. يمكن هنا في مصر weather doesn't fluctuate much, بس لما بتسافر تحتاج تعرف هي هتمطر هتبقى برد هتبقى حر, what's happening every day. Money, how much money you carry on you is a very solid prediction that you make every day walking out of home. But برضه there are longer term predictions. How much money you're going to save, what's the interest rate, what you want to buy. But basically you predict and act upon those predictions. My favorite school, obviously. So you predict when you're going to get hungry, you predict how long you predict how long a delivery will take. You wouldn't pass out of hunger قبل ما يوصل. But my favorite housewives are actually the best when it comes to prediction. لأن بيشتروا حاجاتهم بالشهر. Nothing goes to waste. They predict exactly what they're going to need. In every meal, they predict exactly the portions that they're going to cook, so nothing gets wasted, right? So all these predictions that we do intuitively, من غير ما بنفكر فيها, and it's extremely simple. And this is what I want to talk about, the simplicity. Right? لما بنتكلم على the data that we have, there is obviously something that happens in the past, and how can we learn from that to build on it in the future, right? So in the past we have reports that tells us what happened. Then we take that a little bit into the future, we talk about insights, and we analyze why did it happen, right? Then we take it one step further and we talk about prediction. What could happen? If we stop here, it's extremely useless, right? Because we need to act upon those predictions. there is no use to know what's going to happen without doing anything about it, right? But prediction is not the end game. Prediction sets us up for the right action. Yeah. So that's just a framework to take us into the strategy of prediction. Very simple. احنا كنا بنبص على main 4 categories when we talked about how to strategize about prediction. أنا مش هتكلم قوي على philosophy and etymology between the difference between what's prediction and what's forecast. It doesn't matter. Yeah. في debate عجيب جدا على what's the difference between forecast and prediction. It really doesn't matter. As long as you can predict what's going to happen and have the right action for it, it doesn't matter what word you use. Yeah. But yeah, just to put that out of the way. We look at 4 distinct categories. أول category بنبص عليه. Who's going to call us and why? We have a massive call center طبعا in Vodafone. We receive roughly 250,000 calls, and that's in Qatar. Here in Egypt, it's a lot more. But we look at who's going to call us and why. Very simple 2 questions. What kind of customer is going to call us and why are they going to? Once we answer those questions, we move to the next category. Act or sleep. Is it worth it to take an action, be proactive, or it's not worth it, so we'll actually sleep. We're not going to do anything about it. We'll let the customer call us. Yeah? And these are 2 very important questions to ask, because sometimes it will cost you more to be proactive than be reactive. I'll talk about precision and quality and all of it later. You need to very clearly decide based on who's going to call you and for what, decide are you going to take action or not. If you decide to take action, you're going to talk about the customer preference, what channel and what time. أكيد في شركاتكم عندكم multiple channels. إحنا فودافون طبعا عندنا multiple channels, retail store, website, call center, أنا فودافون the mobile app, and a lot more. So we have multiple channels. When the customer will prefer a different kind of channel. So we use whatever channel that the customer prefers and whatever time they want to be contacted. A very simple distinction is B2B and B2C. لما بنتكلم مع business customers, we talk Sunday to Thursday, من 9 ل 5. When we talk about consumer customers, we prefer to contact them after work hours. So they would have brain capacity to deal with us and our issues, right? Then we move to the last part, which is what action are we going to do? Yes, we know now the channel, we know the customer is going to call us and why, we decided to act, and we know the time. أيوة contact them بقى بإيه وإمتى وليه. يعني all of these things need to come together into an action. What action are we going to take? Yeah. So this, to me, are extremely simple 4 steps to manage prediction in any industry. Yeah. Prediction is good for 2 sets of actions. Proactive actions, obviously, that's the intuitive one. When you predict, you're going to be proactive. But command is good for reactive. How is it good for proactive? 3 distinct categories. Channel steering, so where are we going to push the customer? Journey intervention, knowing where the journey is going to break and actually intervene before, or shortly after it breaks with a corrective action. And personalization. Personalization is not a thing on its own. It actually works in the other 2. So we personalize the action by doing journey intervention and by doing channels, right? And the active part. So if we know what you're going to call us about and why and your history and everything else, we're ready. Yeah. Even though we decided not to act, but we're ready for it. So we can automate it. We can have a simple IVR. When you call the call center and press 1 for this and press 2 for that, that's called an IVR, interactive voice response. So we can automate the answer for you. It can be a chatbot, it can be an IVR, it can be a mobile app, whatever it is, we can automate it because we already know what you're going to ask us. Yeah? We can also do advanced routing. So if you're calling us for something that is technical and specific, we route you to the right person. Something that is very interesting here that we played with a couple of years ago. We analyzed every interaction that the customer had with us with our call center. وده كان group initiative. ما كانش بس locally في مصر أو في قطر أو in the Middle East. That was all over both. we analyzed everything the customer called us for, and we analyzed our agents only. Yeah. And then what we did is, for example, you call the call center. I answered the call, right? You weren't happy. Okay. Then we map you and we find other customers like you. And they map me and they map other agents like you. So when a customer like you or someone from your profile calls the call center, they're never routed to an agent like me because this pairing wasn't successful. So basically, we analyzed our satisfaction at our first contact resolution, and then we optimized it. So we know our agents, we know our customers, and we do successful pairing as much as we can. There's another version of advanced routing as well. And the last part is frontline empowerment. When all else fails and goes to the agent has the answer because we pretty much know why we're calling us about. So prediction works in both sides of the coin. Yeah. Here I talk a little bit, but I already covered this. So basically, this is the model, this is our infrastructure that we built. It can be different, obviously, for every industry. So it's not necessarily highly relevant for you. We talk about the channel, what database we actually use to crunch the numbers and spit out the answer, right? And this is the details of the categories. I have here an example of a billing issue. So basically, this is a sort of a journey intervention kind of scenario, where the customer is way above their credit limit or way above their average usage. We all use our phones monthly. By the way, I have the tendency sometimes to talk fast. So if that's the case, احنا بنستخدم تليفوناتنا every month. More likely than not, our usage is sort of the same. Unless you travel, unless there is a special event, but more or less we pay roughly the same time, the same amount of money every month. So when we look at our customers and we see someone who's up by 100%, that's a customer who's going to get what we call a bill shock. That's someone who's going to receive their bill and think, this is not my usage. You guys are stealing from us, all this. You guys, you know this thing, right? So what we do is we detect who's actually going to hit something like 80 to 100% increase in their bill. And once we detect that, we decide, so now we know who, right? What kind of customer and why. They're going to call us and say, how many, right? So we take an action here. So we decide to act because this is a very important customer and this is a very important call that we actually proactively do. So we decide to act. Now we look at propensity to call, what kind of channel they're going to contact us. Is it a call center? Do they go to social media? Whatever. Then we use that channel in the time that we think is suitable for them, and we push the message. What we push for them is it can be something like, by the way, you're above your credit limit by this much. We went all the way, by the way, in one of the implementation, I think it was in the Czech Republic, one of the implementation, we decided, you know what, if it's your first time to hit that kind of bill, we waive it. You're going to pay the average, right? That works wonders when it comes to customer experience. And when we do this, we do it with another metric in mind, which is we call propensity to churn. How likely this customer is going to leave us if we don't do something like this. So what we're betting against here is if we give them this free month, in a way, how long they're going to stay with us. And if we don't, how soon are they going to leave us? So we're thinking if we give them, let's say, 100 guinea, their bill is 100 guinea more, so we're going to waive that 100 guinea. If we give them that 100 guinea, how many of 100 guinea we're going to get if they stay with us for a couple of years? Versus we're going to be stingy about it and say, no, we're not going to give you the 100 guinea, and then they disconnect a week later. Then we lose all their future. Yeah. So you need to look at propensity to call. How likely are they to contact you and in which channel? And propensity to churn. How likely are they to leave? Yeah. Then you take the action, and obviously it's a completely different journey. Instead of the call in the call center, it's all customer, SMS, my Vodafone app. So it's all self-serve, and the customer is on top of the bill, even before the bill is issued. So the customer is in full control of what they're going to use. Yeah. This is again, I talked about this is the same infrastructure, and this is the active side of things. So the automation and the frontline empowerment and the advanced routing. And the example that I talked about here is network failures. And we all have network failures. Who called the call center ever for a problem with the network, either a drop call or slow data? I assume so. How easy is it? Anyone recall the experience? Yes. Well, whatever. It's a horrible. It's a horrible. Because majority of the time, the kind of call center has no idea what you're talking about. And then you can spend, if it's a network, it's an actual network problem, i.e., for example, no coverage. Yeah, you cannot connect. They can spend 15 minutes trying to find your location. Yeah, and that's a very like you don't want that, right? Because the agent that takes your call is a generic agent. Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none, as they say. So he's someone who can answer any call, but he's not specialized or she's not specialized in a very specific type of. And this is frustrating to both parties, by the way. You're frustrated as a customer, the agent is extremely frustrated because they have average handling time and all the rest of it, right? So everybody's frustrated, nobody wins. So what we do is, if we know that you're going to call us for a network issue, we predict that and we route you to someone who's a network expert. In some of the cases, we went a little bit ahead. So this is the case when we decided to sleep on the reactive side. But I'll go back to the proactive side. What we did is we ring-fenced some customers, our high-value customers, people who bring in roughly around $100 a month and more. So we decided to be proactive about it. We labeled them on the network. So every time they have more than 5 drop calls a day, we get an alarm and we contact them and say, we know you had 5 drop calls, you were in your office or your home, whatever it is. We're sorry about it, we're working about it. And then sometimes we send it, in case of B2B, if it's a big company, we send the network team to angle the sales side correctly so we can give them better coverage. So sometimes we take it to the proactive side if it's worth doing that. And this is, again, back to how much will it cost me to take an action. مش هينفع علشان a single customer with a single drop call who actually brings me 10 جنيه في الشهر. I'll send the network team, go up the sell site, and it doesn't pay off. At the end of the day, we're all in commercial companies that aim to make profit, right? So we need to angle everything commercial. Yeah. However, in this case, if you're going to be active about it, route it to the right guy, give them the right information so they can have a meaningful discussion, and end it in a minute and a half instead of the 15 minutes. Yeah. Cool. Now we know that sort of a strategy or a starting point. How to predict. There's a lot of text. I'm not going to go through it. So basically, the idea is there are a lot of definitions when it comes to prediction. What's a true positive? What's a false positive? What's a true negative? All of these things are important. But instead of going through this, I'd say let's talk about cats and dogs. Who has a cat or a dog? Who likes cats and dogs? Cat? Dog? What kind of dog? Dutch dog. Oh, nice. Longy one. Nice. Cats in the building? Cats? Nice. I'm a dog guy. I have a chow chow. It's a fluffy dog. Anyway, so basically, when you talk about prediction, you don't ask a complicated question. Ask a very simple question. We're not going to ask how many cats. How many cats is a complicated question for a prediction model. If you want to build a solid prediction model, you need to ask a simple binary question. Is this a cat? Yes or no? Yeah. So this is how you get prediction to work for you and not work against you. So basically, you look at this and say, is this a cat? That's it. This is all what you need for your prediction model. And then you feed it with some information. In this case, I'm making stuff up. Obviously, I've never done a prediction model for cats and dogs. But in this case, you would say head to body ratio, pointy ears, size not more than or less than. So these are the kind of input you feed into your prediction model to answer this simple question: is this a cat or not? That's it. Yeah, so that's your starting point. That's the basic starting point. And then what will happen is your system or your prediction model is going to look at that lineup of cats and dogs and split them into cats and dogs, right? Is this a cat? Yes. Is this a cat? No. That's it, right? Once you do this, if you get the picture is a little bit not extremely clear. So basically, what happened here, the model identified majority of the cats, but identified a little bit of dogs, right? So there are 5 cats and 2 dogs in the category that is supposed to be all cats. Yeah. And this side of the coin, so basically it's identified 5 dogs, I think, and 1 cat. So there is a cat that escaped the model. Are we expecting our prediction model to be 100%? Absolutely not. We're not in the business of brain surgery. Well, unless you're healthcare, that's a different story. But no one is going to die, right? So your prediction model needs to be good, but you don't need to spend millions and millions on a fantastic prediction model that predicts 100%. A lot of the times, 100% is not a good thing. Yeah, you'll be wasting time and money to catch everything while you don't necessarily need to. Yeah, so sometimes the 80% mark is a good mark that works for me in my industry. You need to find what sensitivity you need to do. Yeah, and then once you've done this, there are 3 things that you need to do. Precision of the model, recall or sensitivity of the model, and accuracy of the overall model. Precision, it talks about basically in the category that you said, yes, these are cats. Yeah, how many of them are actually false positive? So the equation is true positive over true positive plus false positive. So basically, cats over the 5 cats over the 5 cats plus the 2 dogs that were falsely identified as cats, right? And that basically is the principle. We do something like this when it comes to churners, people who are going to leave. So basically, we feed our model, and then we say, if the customer revenue dropped month over month by this much, if they had that many complaints, if they visited the store that many times, then this is this customer going to leave? And then the system will say yes. Yeah. Then in this case, we identified the majority of the leavers, people who are going to leave. But at the same time, there are a couple of guys who are not planning to leave, but they got caught up in the system. That's all right, because what we're going to do with those guys is give them an offer. So it's not a bad thing for the couple of guys that were identified as leavers, but got the offer anyway. Yes, there's commercial risk that comes with it, but the maximum that's going to happen is we lost a couple of dollars here and there. The important part is we proactively protect it against people who are going to leave. Yeah. The sensitivity or recall, basically it looks at how many escaped the system. So there is 1 cat that was supposed to be identified as cat, but actually ran the other way, and the system said it's not a cat, it's a dog. That can be, and this is something that we actually worked with involved on. Basically, we wanted to see the propensity to complain on social media. We wanted to see and predict what kind of customer is going to complain on social media. We all know why social media. Social media is where people go to vent and brand repercussions, and it's extremely horrible when especially when it's a sizable company like Vodafone, people love to pile on. So if you're going to see 1 guy saying bad network, that stream will have 1,000 in an hour, right? A lot of people say, yeah, me too, you know what I mean? So sometimes 1 guy escaping the system is 1 too many. And we try as much as we can to identify with extreme sensitivity that no one actually escapes and goes to the social media. Unless, of course, it's something that is we cannot predict, i.e. And this is something as well that we're trying to build models against, which is the influence of network. So if you have a problem with a network, I don't have a problem with the network, but for lack of better words, I like to bitch. So you're going to talk about your network problem. I don't have a problem with the network, but I'm going to complain online. That's not something that the system can predict. Yeah, I can predict that he's going to complain and then deal with that, but I cannot complain who he's going to talk to and who's going to decide to take action. So sometimes things escape the system. There are other models to map that, but this is not really our topic. The last part is the accuracy. So basically, you take everything that is positive over everything else, and that calculates the accuracy of your prediction. Does this make sense? Yeah. You guys are extremely silent. Either this is not working or extremely working. So which one is it? No questions, no concerns? Okay. Precision. So accuracy is everything. So in accuracy, we took everything that is true positive and true negative, and then we divided this by the whole population. So basically, what did the model say? True cats, and what did the model say? Not true cats. Yeah, and then over everything else, which is the population. Yeah, so that's the overall accuracy. In precision, we took the part that the model said these are cats, and then we saw how many of them actually are cats. In this case, the system said 7 are cats. In reality, 5 are cats and 2 are dogs. So that's the precision side of it. Accuracy is more holistic. Yeah. And by the way, this is something that you play with depending on what are you predicting. Sometimes this is more important than this, and sometimes this is more important than this.
عندنا موديل زي كده بس الريستريكشن
I hope you guys have a better model than this. People die.
مش بقى انا بريدكشن اي حاجه هو الفاريبل اللي بتاعته هو البوزيشن والسنسيتيفيتي والاكيورسي
Yes.
بس الليمت بتاع
Of course.
الحاله دي تقدر تستخدمها او ما تستخدمهاش.
Yes.
فهي عشان كده بقول لك هو الموديل بريدكشن.
Yes, exactly. I'm sure you guys have high restrictions when it comes to what's acceptable when it comes to precision.
بالنسبه للبيزنس بتاعك ايه مثلا البرسيشن مش اقل من 90%.
Yes.
لو اقل من 90% انت بترجكت الميثود عدت فيها او ترجع تعيد الفاليديشن.
However, in healthcare, you can do. Are you private healthcare or government based? Private. Right. When it comes to private, there are a lot of things you guys can predict because you need to deal with brand perception. If you guys are for profit, you don't want complaints. You want people to talk positively about you. You don't want repeat visits for the same thing. So all of these things are still predictable, and it's not core healthcare. It's not the actual surgery that is the problem. It can be the aftercare, it can be the recovery room, it can be a multitude of things. So there are few things around the core of what is regulated that is mostly related to the service that you guys provide before and after. So you can compete with other products because the customer has the choice, obviously, to go to your institute or versus something else. And everybody's sort of playing to be the best or have the better perception. Yeah. احنا ما عندناش بنش مارك. لا. So basically احنا لازم انا بشتغل على 80. انا احمد نور. But that doesn't mean Vodafone. It doesn't mean a certain operating preference. That means my own personal preference, right? احنا ما عندناش regulatory, even though telecommunication is a heavily regulated industry. بس احنا ما عندناش اي regulatory guideline يقول لنا لا لازم تبقى 80 لازم تبقى 85. Where, as I was saying earlier, different models that work for different things has different numbers or different benchmarks. هو انا ما بتكلمش على الايجيبشن ماركت، انا كنت بتكلم على الفودافون جروب يعني. بس again اذا على حسب تاني what is the issue? If the customer is going to call us and say what's my bill, yeah, and I have a prediction model that is sort of at the 70 or even the 60% mark that predicts who's going to call us for the bill and then proactively sending it to them, I am fine with that because it's not a life-changing event. The customer calls us and asks what's the bill, right? Churners or people who are going to leave is a much more important model to go for the 80%. Yeah. People who are going to complain on social media, I try to hit the 95 and above percent. Yeah. So it really depends what am I working with and for what reason are we using this prediction. Make sense? Right. How do we very practically deal with prediction? And what to predict and why and all of these things. What I do is very simple iterative model here. What am I measuring? Is it the number of calls? Is it satisfaction? Is it walk-ins to my clinic? What it is? What it is that I'm measuring? Yeah. And then I formulate a hypothesis. I have an idea why this measurement is the way it is. Yeah. So people are calling because our network is bad. That's the hypothesis. Yeah. And then what's the experiment? So for that hypothesis, people are calling us because the network is bad. What's the experiment? What I want to experiment with? Be proactive. One of the things that we played with once is giving them back the money. For example, if you have a drop call, we have something that's called the network guarantee. Once you have a drop call, we're going to credit you back the money. And that's one of the experiments that we ran to see if the matrix is going to move or not. Sorry? Yes. So basically, this is the experiment that we run. Once we formulate the experiment, we act on it, and then we measure it. And on it goes. We continue to do this. So whatever business you're in, think about what you want to change, what number, what needle you want to move up or down, depending on if it's a cost needle, you want to move it down, obviously, if it's a revenue needle, you want to move it up. And then what is the hypothesis to moving it up or down? Have an experiment that works on that hypothesis, and then do it, and measure again. And go on and on and on until you hit your target. Yeah? Extremely simple, extremely to the point. What we also do in Egypt, once we have this and we have an experiment to run, we do something that's called A/B testing. Anyone knows what A/B testing is? So basically, A/B testing is if we decide that we're going to send you a message around your bill. So your bill is X. Yeah. We have two different versions of it. One is called A and one is called B. And we send the A kind of customers this kind of message, and we send the B kind of customers a B kind of message, and see what works better. So is the A version of the text better, or hitting the target better, or the B one? This is to fine-tune your action as well. So even though you came up with an action and you were pretty confident that it's going to hit the target you wanted to hit, you still need to fine-tune it with customer preference, and you will only know customer preference if you test it. And this is what we do with A/B testing. And we test that across different channels. So if we're going to push a notification on the My Vodafone app, we're going to do the same, two different kinds of notifications. Obviously, customers don't notice. Customers only see what message they receive. Unless I compare with you, this is the message and this is the message, and you happen to be a different group, then you would know that there are two different messages. But for the customer, they only see one thing, right? And the same applies to emails or any other channel you choose to deal with. This is, to me, the part that is missed in the majority of the implementations that I look at, which is the control group. The control group measures something that is extremely important, which is called the do-nothing scenario. So for if I have everybody in the room is going to complain about the bill, yeah, and then I decide I'm going to send the message for everybody, and you guys are going to receive the A kind of message, and you guys are going to receive the B kind of message. You're not going to receive any messages at all. And then I'm going to compare A to B to do nothing. And hopefully one of these two are going to be better than the two. But it's very important to show your work, and it's very, once I started doing this, it was extremely valuable for me to talk to the exec team or the top management or the regional management to talk about this is when we do nothing, this is the scenario when we do nothing, and this is the scenario when we do something. And the difference needs to be obviously high enough that we go for this. Yeah. So start doing control group, and control group need to be relevant to what you're testing. So if you're going to go for, well, it's a stupid example, I admit, but it's just to put the point across. So if I want to measure postpaid or send them bills, I cannot say my control group is prepaid. That's completely separate, right? So I need to choose a control group from postpaid, people who receive bill, people who called us previously for bill issues, to have a solid example of the improvement. Yeah? Cool. This is the last part when I'm going to talk about how to do prediction. This is a more generic model. It's not necessarily specific to prediction models. I use it a lot in service design. I used it when I used to do process improvement and automation. So I use this model a lot in pretty much everything I do. And anyone here did Six Sigma? Anyone that's familiar with Six Sigma? Yeah, cool. So you know the DMAG model. Yeah. So the know here, so you go in and you know, that's your define and measure, right? So you define and measure in the know. Yeah. But what I like here is it's extremely not Six Sigma-ish language, because management sometimes gets turned off by acronyms. Yeah. So I'm trying to use more layman terms to make it accessible. Yeah. So you define and measure pretty much in the know context. Once you define and measure, you're going to analyze, yeah, and improve at the same time. You have an idea how you're going to improve. This is the part that is I highly recommend that you do, is you pilot and improve concept. So you show your work. So you define, then you measure, then you analyze, then you have an idea about improvement. Set up a small pilot. Make it contained, but make it scalable. Yeah. So making it contain too much means it's separate to real life, and once you go to real life, everything is going to be. But if you make it contained but scalable at the same time, that means the minute you move from pilot to real life, the results are going to be competitive. Yeah? So this is in your show quadrant of things, and then you sustain, which is your control things. So you basically make this the de facto, you make this the status quo, you make this business as usual. Yeah. Once you've done this, what you do, you take another issue and you take it to the wall. Yeah. So you keep on going. Yeah? Once you sustain something, you give it back to operations, pick something else, and keep moving. Yeah. Now to the results, or some. I'll take you through a couple of things that we've done when it comes to. The first thing that I'll talk about is something that we call the next best action. And what we want to do with the next best action is when the customer calls us, we present them with an extra option. It can be a sales option, it can be a service option, basically giving them a little bit more. Yeah. And we didn't want to do the classical, we want fries with that, the way McDonald's do it, everything you order, they ask you to add fries to it. So we didn't want something that is blunt as that. We wanted something that is fine-tuned. And we didn't want to do the Google. I don't know if you can read the text, but basically what Google does is, in your region, once you start typing, it auto-fills it, right? But it auto-fills it with what's popular, regardless of who you are. Yeah. So if you're in Egypt and you try to how to convert to, it will show how to convert to Islam, how to convert Islam to Dubai. So it maybe has nothing to do with what you're looking for. So we wanted something that is a little bit more fine-tuned. So what we did is we took everything we know about the customer and we decided what are we going to offer them next. And when I say everything, I mean it. So we have all the interactions of the customer. We have everything that the customer spends money on. Is it local? Is it international? Is it data? We have all the network data to look at. How many drop calls they have. What's the quality of voice that they're experiencing in whatever area they live in. So we took everything, and that engine sits in the background. And for the agent, they see one recommendation. Even though the engine goes through millions of possibilities, the engine spits out in real time one recommendation only. We don't want the agent to think it's complicated or the rest of it. They just look at that one option and they send it to the customer, and they sell it to the customer. It can be, as I said, it can be a service thing, or it can be a commercial sales thing, right? And what did that achieve? So we made a little bit of money, $20 million in a year. That's not bad. But we also looked at the satisfaction. So again, my background is customer experience and service design. I'm extremely passionate about customer satisfaction. Yes, money is important, but I'm extremely passionate. And what I committed to the regional team was every time we're going to give the customer a next best action, the customer is going to rate us 10 points higher. So people who are not going to receive a next best action, my control group, are going to rate me 10 points lower than people that I act upon and give them an action, right? That was my dream, that's what I wanted, that's the target, right? And what we achieved was the following, and this is really astonishing. So customers who accepted an offer, so let's say you called us and your next best action is that you would buy an international pack machine. So we did that. You call us and then we say, yeah, and by the way, we have this major international pack that will work for you, 20 guinea. If you give us 20 guinea, you'll have it activated right away. Those customers who said yes and activated the pack 20 guinea, those guys rated us 18 points higher. I was aiming for 10, right? They rated us 18 points higher than people who didn't receive any offer at all. Who rated us 10 points higher? People who said no. So I offer you the pack and you say, no, I don't want it. I don't want the pack version. Those guys who said no rated us 10 points higher than those who didn't receive an offer at all. Why do you think that is? Exactly that. So exactly, customer felt like, yeah, that sounds like something that I would want, but I don't want it right now. But thank you for highlighting that. So even though they didn't buy it, they still felt it's personalized. They felt it's relevant for them, and they felt that the agent is looking out for them. They felt like the agent has their best interest at heart, right? It really worked like magic, almost like magic, but it was astonishing. TMPS, yeah. TMPS is Touchpoint Net Promoter Score. In telecommunication, all over the world, we're obsessed with something called NPS, which is Net Promoter Score. Basically, it goes like this. We ask the customer one single question. How likely are you to recommend this to a friend or family? And the rating is 0 to 10. Yeah? So we ask you this question and you give us a score. Yeah? So are you using what telecom operator you use? We. Okay. How likely are you to recommend we to a friend or family? 0 to 10. What number would you give us? It's not, I'm just asking. No, I left both of them, by the way. I left, so I'm just a person. 0 to 10. How likely are you to recommend we? 8 or 7. Okay. So how TMPS works? 8 or 7, actually both of them, is called passive. So that's not someone who's going to proactively talk positively about the company or proactively talk negatively about the company. So 7 and 8 is someone who's going to be silent about it. Yeah? 9 and 10 is someone who's proactively talking positively about it. Yes, exactly. So he's going to sit with anybody and say, why don't you help me? By the way, they're fantastic. Have you checked their, I don't know, data packs, unlimited, whatever, Karim Abdul Aziz was still in during Ramadan. So basically, someone who's going to always talk positively about the company is going to give the company 9 and 10. Anything below 7, someone who's going to say proactively, do not go by we. So that's anything below 7, right? And what we call it the Net Promoter Score is every detractor takes out a promoter. So we deduct detractors from promoters. It's extremely tough. It's a very, very tough measure. And basically, we say this is the net promoter score. After we take away the detractors, this is the promoters that are left. Yeah. And the touch point of it, we decided to include that in the touch point as well. So every time you call the call center, and this happens in Egypt as well, if you call the call center, you receive an IVR or a text message to say, how likely are you to recommend Vodafone based on the interaction, which is the call that you have, and you give the score. That's called the touch point and promoter score. Yeah? Cool. Couple of unexpected extras that we actually achieved by implementing this prediction model is we reduced the average handling time by 1 second. And this is amazing for 2 reasons. The first reason is we expected the average handling time to go up because we're recommending more things to the customer. So basically, when you call us and we say, okay, this is your bill and we send it, that's it, versus this is your bill and we send it, and then we recommend something for you, that's a longer conversation, obviously. So logically, we expected 20 seconds increase on average in average handling time. What we achieved is 1 second decrease, yeah? And that happened because of 2 things. One, the agents were extremely engaged because we gave them games and incentives and all sorts of things. So they wanted to hit more offers. So they were actually churning more and more customers and not taking their sweet time, filling up things and putting the customer on hold. And so actually it sped up that support cycle, all of that, by 1 second. The second reason why this is amazing is this is roughly $250,000 saving every month. 1 second. Yeah, so instead of paying for an extra 20 seconds, we actually managed to save out of the operational cost $250,000 every month. Yeah, and we improved our service level. Service level for those who are not call center related. Service level we measure what's the percentage of customers we answer in 20 seconds. So basically, we should answer 90% of customers within 20 seconds. We improved that by 1 point, again, by implementing this model. And abandonment rate improved by 1 point. That means customers who call the call center and never get to speak to an agent and hang up, that actually improved by 1 point. So we answered more calls in a faster time, and we solved the problems faster. So it really worked across multiple things. And the other part that was really amazing, it improved the employee engagement. We measured the employee engagement by anonymous surveys. We asked the agents without knowing who answered what, so we cannot target them, obviously. So that employee engagement improved by 8 points just by implementing this kind of because they felt they were on the front foot. They knew what the customer wants before the customer knew what they want. And that made them feel empowered. Yeah. By implementing prediction as well, but this is a model that we borrowed from Google. This is a Google model. It actually says, be there, be useful, be quick, and protect the box. It's basically talking about how can you use your digital assets and creating that unique brand interaction with the customer. So I don't know how many of you have digital assets mobile assets and laptop or PC assets to deal with the customers. Do you guys have websites and apps, or do you guys have an app and a website? App and a website, yeah? And this side of the website. What happens when the complication that happens that is added by having another digital? So if you're website only, you know when your customer is dealing with you digitally and it's in one place. Once you have two, that's when the disconnection. So a customer can go to the website, do a little bit of things, and then go to the app, and you have no idea what they've done on the website. That's generally what happens, yeah? And obviously for Google, that's not good enough. So basically, we talk about how you know where the customer went all the time at any given point. And they personalize, and this is a model that exists today. Basically, what device are you using, what time of the day is it, and what's your location. And based on that, they decide what's your next move should be. So if you're going to search restaurants, for example, on Google on your mobile app, on your mobile, it's going to give you different results than website if you're going to sit on a PC. If you're going to be in Naadi and like here in this area and search for restaurants, you're going to receive different results than the vehicles. So basically it takes your location and it takes what device you're using, what time of day, and then pushes to you the relevant search results. And we took some tips like that and implemented it in Vodafone because we still have obviously a mobile app and a Vodafone in Egypt, but the rest of the world is called My Vodafone. So we have My Vodafone, and we wanted to hit as much higher penetration as possible. As many people are using the app, but above people just downloading the app. We wanted people to be engaged with the app. And we had a measure which is basically how many times the customer checks the app, how many times the customer interacts with the app, right? So basically what we've done is we wanted to take that to 12 times per month. And what we achieved by applying this specific predictive model is we achieved 18 times per month. And that was actually number one in group. It was between Qatar and Turkey. Both of us achieved the 18 visits per month per user. And we hit penetration of 18%. That's from 30% of the starting point. So these very unique digital predictive models actually work, and they're extremely simple, and it's for free, and it's available online for anyone who wants to use it. Sorry? One other thing that was possible by using prediction, we did something that's called contact by design. Again, the complexity that, it's a good problem to have, obviously, because once we have multiple channels, the customer has more ways to interact with you. But the problem that happens is not all channels have the same efficiency, and not all channels cost the same. So a visit to the retail shop is extremely expensive for the company. Sorry, versus calling the IVR or USSD, which is basically sending a code. When you dial Nigma 120 شباك, for example, that's called USSD. So that's the cheapest kind of channel. Walking into the call center is the most expensive. The retail shop is the most expensive channel. And what we wanted to do, using our predictive models and having our three value segments, so we have a high value customer, we have a mid value customer, and a low value customer, decide in advance what kind of channels are they going to use and for what. So we did something that's called contact by design, thinking that when it comes to high value, I don't care if they go anywhere because, again, they're high value. So even if they use an expensive channel, it's fine because they're bringing in much money. But I wanted to be on the front foot. So basically, 50% of the interactions are going to be call center. However, what I can treat here is 100% of that 50% is outbound. Is me calling them to say, yeah, I saw that you dropped your call. We're sorry about it. Here's a credit. Or it's a Vodafone red. It's the composition is 33300 on the PowerPoint. We know the Vodafone red. So yeah, basically it's 100% outbound, which is we're always reaching out to the customer to say, this is what happened, there is a solution, even before you decide to go out of your day and call this, yeah? And then when you go to the flip side of it, I'm not going to talk about the whole details, but on the flip side of it, I want majority of the mass, which is the low value customers, I want majority of the interaction to be USSD. I want them to go somewhere that is cheap, low touch, automated, self-service. Because, and by the way, there's a real statistic. We had the cost per call, that was the cost per call was 10 riyal, all right? Our low value customers bring in a month 10 riyal. So basically, if they called us twice, we already lost 10 riyal on those customers, right? So it's very important to be economic when dealing with these. This is the last one I talk about before I summarize. I'm sorry, but the display is not really great. You cannot see the bars. This is something that was made possible by the prediction, which is we outsource a lot of our call center activities. So a lot of our agents are not necessarily Vodafone employees. So for example, if we talk about Vodafone UK, for example, Vodafone UK's call center is here in Egypt. Germany's call center is here in Egypt. Australia's call center is here. So there's offshoring and outsourcing. That being said, you need to deal with, and I'm talking Six Sigma terms, you need to deal with the second call as a defect, right? So the customer calls the call center for the first time to solve a problem, and you can't, and then the customer calls again, that's definitely a defect. So when you're dealing with your vendor, so someone who's provided the supplier, someone who's provided the service for you, it needs to be labeled as a defect. And In our model, we pay per call. So at the end of every month, our vendor is going to say, these are the number of calls that we received. It cost us, I don't know, 10 riyals, right? And then it's a simple math equation. We're going to say this one. What we did with prediction, because we've done everything to know who's going to call us and why, and given the right training, the right tools, whatever. Now I can say, you know what? I'm going to pay you that amount for the first call. For the second call, we had a scale based on the operating company, but we started from the second call is going to be 0. You're going to pay for that call because you didn't handle it right the first time. So we only pay for the first call. And what we've done for them to accept that, we said, you know what, we pay you an extra 50% for the first call. So let's say the first call is 10 جنيه. We told them, you know what, we'll pay for the first call 15. But second call, third call, fourth call, we're not paying. Yeah. So we made them focus on bringing the first call to life. Yeah. We had, sorry, we had a project that's called too much. So 2 calls is too much. And to focus on how can we solve it the first time around. Obviously, not every vendor accepted it, but those who didn't accept it, what the solution for us was, okay, fine, we'll pay the first call 10 جنيه. We're not going to increase that. And then the second call, we'll pay it at cost. You need to tell me how much does it cost you. You're not making revenue out of this. I'm just going to get you at 0 revenue for that. I'm not going to get you to pay from your own pocket, but you're not going to take my money for it. Yeah. So this is something like, again, this kind of mature conversations you can start to have once you have the right prediction models and tools that they have actually no excuse. Yeah. You already give them everything that they need. Now you can decide to take them. Yeah. So basically, in conclusion, prediction is not scary. A lot of people think prediction is data scientist stuff. It's heavy analytics. It really is. We do it every day without knowing. We action on it every day without knowing. Let's bring it to our attention and let's use it to improve our efficiency. It's multi-purpose. As we said, it's not necessarily just cost. It's not necessarily just revenue. It can be revenue. It can be cost. It can be operational metric. It can be employee satisfaction. It can be customer satisfaction. You can use it for everything. And then the last thing is, it's useless on its own. If you predict and don't do anything about it, there is really, you haven't done anything. Good that you know, but if you didn't act on it, you might as well not know. Yeah? And that is it. So if you guys have any questions, concerns, challenges,
About presentation or what about?
not about both. In order not to spend the whole 9 years, not about what. We can take those one-on-one in case you can read them. Questions, comments? So, but I'll do something that is silly. What did you recall? One thing you recall. One thing you recall from the whole presentation. Accuracy. Okay. We'll go around the room and ask this question actually.
I really want to know your intention of numbers.
Make your own. That would be my answer to this. And I really mean it. Make your own because, again, you need to try, as we said, look at the matrix. What's the hypothesis? What's the experiment? Act. And go around. You do it for yourself. Yes. Yes. Sure. No, not at all. I'm not diplomacy at all, by the way. I'm the bull in the china shop, believe me. So it's to me, as I said earlier, I said when it comes to something that is the bill, for example, call accuracy, I was happy with the 60%. When it came to complaints on the social media, I was aiming for a 95. So if you want to range that I used, it was 60 to 95. but it's really dependent on what issue. There is no, I cannot. Yes, but for the service elements that I used within the portfolio that I managed, I started at 60%, and the highest that I've been was 95%. Yes. Yeah.
هي تعتمد على درجه لو عندك مشكله مثلا لما حاجه ليها علاقه بالكاستمر انت مالكش حل انت لازم تركز معاه او دي بريورتي عاليه انت تحاول تقللها على قد ما تقدر لكن حاجه زي بالي كده هو هيفتح في الاخر هو كده ولا كده بس انت بتحاول تحسن بالظبط الاكسبكتيشن بتاعته فهو ممكن يخش يشتري حاجه ثانيه يبقى كوميونيكيت معاك اكتر يجيب معاك اكتر بتحسن اللويالتي بتاعته. هي الفكره بقى انت بتتكلم في مشكله ممكن تتسبب ان انت تقفل الشركه غير سواء كبوست او حتى في حاجات كتير اوقات عندنا في الريجوليتوري اكتر اللي هو لا وزاره التكنولوجيا خلاص ما بتتكلمش في مشكله بقى ليها علاقه وهتحطها مثلا 90% ولا 95% ولا 99%. لا المشكله دي حصلت بالظبط فانت ما بتقدرش غير لما نكون بنتكلم على مشكله لا اصل احنا لينا الحته الفلانيه فيها مشكله او يا جماعه احنا بنتكلمكم وما بتردوش فهي بتفرق من السكشن لسكشن بتفرق من الكاستمر ايش الكارت بتاعته بالنسبه
Yes. Yes. We call it one-to-one. So we won't talk to the customer on one-to-one basis. لا ما اعرفش. Technical details, IT stuff, I am ignorant. I know that.
اعتقد كل الحاجات دلوقتي اللي هي الجزء بتاع اللي هو تكنولوجي بالظبط اللي هي البيج داتا والحاجات دي كلها ماشيه تمام غير بس غير الاصل بتاعها.
Yes.
واخد اتجاه كاتيجورايزيشن طلع ان الحوار اصلا حاجه يعني
but basically in categorization they work, and the one-to-one in a lot of cases it can be categorized, but you cannot look at people just back. You cannot look at people just demographics. We have a big matrix and we cross-section everything. What's your demographic? What's your value? Your usage? Then you can bring in 100 جنيه, and that 100 جنيه I can make profit 90 جنيه, or I can make negative 10, even though you brought the same 100 pounds. That's what services are you going to use? How likely are you going to process? And what channel you're going to use? All of these things matter. فما اقدرش اعمل blunt categorization and say these customers bring 100 جنيه, then they're the same. In reality, they're not. Yeah. So we try to dissect that as much as we can and talk to one-to-one basis. Yeah.
تشالنجينج جدا ان انتوا في السيرفيس سيكتور يعني تتعاملوا مع الهيومن بيهيفير. الحوار تشالنجينج جدا الحوار بريدكشن يعني الحوار انا عارف ان هو صعب جدا يعني.
بس it's rewarding because in a fast-paced environment يعني لما يبقى عندك مثلا 150,000 كول في اليوم when it comes to a very big operator, you make a small change and the impact is next day and it's massive. And this is extremely exciting.
عايز اقول لك بقى حوار يفرق جدا في الكل. انا عايز الايجنت يسجل مش الكومبلين بس, يسجل اللي اتقال للكاستمر عشان ساعات الواحد بيتكلم مع ايجنت وبعد كده يتكلم مع ايجنت تاني مش واخد حاجه فيقول له نفس الحل اللي اتقال. الحوار بجد يعني يقول لي انا قدامي المشكله متسجله. طب مش قدامك انت اتقال لي قبل كده؟
قبل التليفون مش شغال تاني.
انا ما بحسش ان اللي قال للكاستمر اللي بيسجل بس اللي قاله الكاستمر.
اوكي هو كل حاجه بتتسجل. That's from an everything is important. The bigger problem is what to do with it. And this is something that just started يمكن من 4-5 شهور. إنه because everything is recorded, this is massive data. And it's very hard to analyze this data because it's voice. فمن 3-4 شهور we started to do something that's called the speech analytics. So this is hooked into a server that recognizes what you're saying, turn it into script,
and then after turning it into a script, analyzing it versus everything else other customers are saying, and then coming up with a model that actually suits this kind of interaction. And there are certain companies come in that started, actually, I think it was Vodafone Italy. They implemented a product that is produced by a company called IPSol. It's chat-based mesh voice, but basically it's you're chatting to a machine, you're not chatting to a human being, and that machine maps your intent, and it knows when you're going to get angry by mapping previous chats and how they ended. And once you start to get angry, it gets you to a calmer place, either by offering you something or putting you through to an actual issue. So now, because we have massive data, with great power comes great needs great responsibility, the famous Spider-Man quote. So when you have massive data, people are expecting massive things from. And it's not immediate, it's not tomorrow, it's not the day after, but it's a journey, right? So we start somewhere and end somewhere else. I'd like to think that telecommunication changed the standard of service that people get from service industry. Now we need to change it again, because everybody is caught up and everybody pretty much now gives the same service. Now it's up to telecommunication to design what the next curve, what's the next innovation when it comes to service projects. And maybe it's there, maybe it's somewhere else, but again, it's exciting and people are looking into that part. Yeah. I still need to know what everybody reports. So, sorry, you have a question?
I was talking previously and we had different models. Currently, I'm working in telecommunications. I'm facing a problem that it is not like NCG. Talked about the area of the call center and how to improve the call center.
Yes.
But about other areas?
Like what?
Other calls.
The big costs, by the way, in the telecommunication, obviously in telecommunication there's capex and there's opex. Yeah. So the capex side of things goes mainly to IT and network. Yeah. So almost 100%. There's just a little bit that goes somewhere else, but almost 100% goes IT and network. The opex side of things, there is a massive line that goes into advertising, which is extremely hard to quantify like for like what the impact is. The next best thing is operations. And operations is the call center, the retail, so the operational cost would be the second most largest line item when it comes to OPEX. And this is why if you want to impact overall OPEX and you want to do it in 1 year, because in telecommunication we're obsessed with the budget cycle, which is the 1 year. If you want to do impact in 1 year, you better start here. You better start in the operations side. But if you have a very specific problem in any other area, of course, I can definitely help. Because this is one of the things that we've done back in Vodafone Egypt, when I worked for Vodafone Egypt. We did a cost rationalization exercise across the country, and that includes capex as well. So we've done that across the country. But if you want to do the operational efficiency, by definition, that will lend itself to operations. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so maybe the Dutch not the motor school. It's a very strong indicator. In fact, the customer satisfaction. If you something you said, the tractor, yes, the motor, there's the tractor. Right? Yes. But any score should have a denominator. What will be the denominator for that score?
The population of everybody.
So it will be the motor
over
everybody. Tractor over
everybody.
Everybody. Yes. So no problem with that. Not the tractor.
No, everybody. Everybody that answered the question.
This is a very good indicator.
Yes, and telecommunications, believe me, telecommunications, we're obsessed with NPS. Obsessed. We measure NPS in every aspect that we do.
And I think actually this indicator actually also in recent what companies now how they are measuring the efficiency of such companies. It's also affecting the financial statements, affecting this kind of things.
Yes,
it's a very important indicator.
There is a very important study. I can't remember who did it. I can't remember the source. But actually, they did a prediction model based on the TMPS score over revenue growth. So they mapped all companies and their TMPS, not TMPS, overall NPS, versus how likely the revenue to grow the next few years. Yeah, and it's a very important model. Once I find the source, I'll probably share it with the Symbios team so they can push it. Yeah. It's a very good model. Yeah, thank you. Wow.
relation نفسه ما فيهوش حاجه لكن الريزلت او البوزيشن اللي بتاكل على الاساسي ده بقى.
Yes, exactly correct. Thank you for highlighting that. Thank you a lot. حضرتك أي حاجة علقت؟ Any single point? Okay. Think about, as I talked towards the end, على the second goal is the defect. Whatever defect you deal with, how can you predict that defect, and what kind of defect you're going to act on it, and what kind of defect you're going to sleep on it. And instead of channel, because channel maybe is not important, but what's the best action to take once you decide to act? Maybe that can be translated to FMCG, and it's up to you to try. Yeah. Cool. حضرتك أي حاجة you recall? Okay. Nice. سيادتك.
عجبني جدا اللينك اللي ربطنا بيه في السيرفيس اندستري بالسكس سيجما. رغم ان كتير جدا فاكرين السكس سيجما حاجه يعني ريليتد قوي او ريليتد بس للمانيفاكتشرنج. انا معجب جدا بالموضوع ده اصلا جرين دوت وظروف حاجه مثلا في السيرفيس. عجبني جدا اللينك ده.
It's extremely important, يعني because I didn't work in manufacturing. I didn't, never in my entire life. I always worked service. I don't know how they implement their manufacturing. To me, Six Sigma is extremely relevant to service. When I deal with that, I feel like it's just service, honestly, because I've done the Six Sigma lean with Symbios actually in 2009, and I only can see service implications in Six Sigma, to be honest. Not manufacturing, but that's just me.
وكان الناس اللي بالظبط لما رحت جيم اول 6 فيديو كانت بتسمعني كل ما كانت حاسس ان انا في الميرور افكت هم مش متخيلين جاي من حته عكس هو اللي بيحصل وانا طول الوقت مستغرب هو ده
كول حضرتك
الناس اللي انا كنت متخيل
يعني ما احبش لما حد ياخد حاجه حد تاني مش يعني لا معلش انا تخين شويه. تمام مفيش اي اسئله مفيش اي حاجه. تمام باشمهندس
اهو زيهم انا فاتني حته كده طبعا للاسف بس في الجزء الاول اللي حضرته يعني عجبني ان انت يعني لازم تدي سامبل كويشن للموديل بتاعك دي كانت مهمه قوي هاو تو بيلد يعني الموديل يعني النولج بتاعت الحته دي ما كانش عندي اصلا يعني ما بسمعش عن الحاجات دي قوي. عجبني كمان الفور ليفل بتوعك ان انت بتعمل ريبورت عن اللي حصل وبعدين اناليسيس وبعدين تبدا تبريدكت وبعدين تبدا تاخد الاكشن. عجبني الفور ليفل.
Simplicity is next to governance. Simplicity is extremely important. If it's not simple, it's not going to work. Really. يعني هتقعد مع ال technical teams or data scientists, they complicate everything. If they cannot explain it simply, it's not going to work. It needs to answer a simple, practical question. If it doesn't do that, then there is something missing. It needs to be simple. Yeah. And with that, I will say thank you guys. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Yeah.